Oh boy. Kelly Rowland done pissed off the colorist community with her latest, I guess you can say, statement. So if y'all don't know what I'm about to talk about, this is the whole Chris Brown situation with this new song he has called Need a Stack, which is on his Indigo album that just came out. And one of the lines in the song was talking about black women and nice hair. The line actually went black bitches with nice hair. Now, what I found to be very interesting about the whole situation is that you had a lot of black women that were more upset about the nice hair comment rather than the part where he called them bitches. Like, that literally made me side eye the colorist community heavily, because y'all were okay with him calling you a bitch, but the nice hair part was the one that pissed you off the most. But it doesn't surprise me, because a lot of songs have been referring to black women as bitches and hoes for so long that a lot of them have become immune to it, even to the point where you have black women out here calling each other a bitch, and they'll get mad if a man calls them one, but they'll be happy if, you know, if they call another woman a bitch. It's almost like how a black man will call another black man nigga, but you know, if a person outside of the diaspora says it, then you know it'll be an issue, and that goes for black women as well. But Kelly Rowland left a comment under his, I think maybe the video or the clip of it, and she basically said, "We love you, Chris." And man, did they come after her heavily. And I do mean they came after her hard. Now, as you can see, Kelly Rowland is a very beautiful woman. I always believe she was probably one of the standout members of Destiny's Child. Of course, you know, Beyonce got more of the praise and more of the shine. But I've always said that Kelly Rowland was a very beautiful chocolate woman. And she ages gracefully as well, because I think this is a more recent picture of her. And she basically said, "We love you, Chris." You know, and, you know, she basically showed her support for him. And, you know, she's allowed to have her opinion, and, you know, that's what she's allowed to have. Until the colorist community came after her and basically said, "No, you're not allowed to feel this way. How dare you?" They called this woman a mammy. They called her a pick-me. I absolutely hate that term, pick-me. Pick-me is basically a term that black women have come up with to call other black women as an insult whenever they come to the defense of a black man. That's basically what it is. Whenever they feel that a certain black man or a collective of black men are doing something what they deem to be bad in their eyes, and a black woman still throws on the cape for them, they'll be labeled a pick-me. Shout out to Kendra D, because she often gets that label. If y'all don't know who Kendra D is, y'all have heard me mention her name on my channel before. She does a lot of commentaries, very insightful woman. And this woman knows from experience. After all, she was married for a good amount of years before her husband became deceased. So she knows how to take care and cater to her man, and her husband was a black man. But they fail to see that, and many of the ones that say stuff like that have never been married. They don't have a family. They probably, if they're in a relationship, is with a non-black man. So, but most of them are single. Let's just be real here, because a lot of them carry a lot of baggage. And they'll call someone like Kelly Rowland, like I said, a pick-me or a mammy, because she had the nerve to speak her mind and give her own opinion about it. You know, about this whole situation. I've seen comments where they said, "Oh, she's doing this to stay relevant. I can't name one Kelly Rowland song." Like, I've seen all these comments. But it's going back to the thing where it says that black men in particular are not allowed to have a preference. Because what they'll do is what they'll formulate in their mind is that if a black man has a preference, then that means anything that's not black. And that's not always necessarily true. If he wants to be with a dark-skinned woman, let him. If he wants to be with a brown-skinned woman, let him. If he wants to be with a light-skinned woman, he's allowed that as well. If he wants to be with an Afro-Latina, he's allowed that as well. There's various spectrums of blackness here, but let that colorist community tell it it's only one type. And it's the type that looks like them. And he didn't say good hair. He said nice hair. So that could easily mean a woman who has her own natural hair and it's styled nicely. Not to the point where she comes out of the house and she looks like buckwheat. There are plenty of natural hair gurus online, on social media, on YouTube, that do plenty of tutorials on how to keep your natural hair clean, nice, and done up, even if, you know, depending on the occasion, whether it's just a casual day or you're going to a special high class event. There's loads of them online. Those women know exactly what Chris Brown was talking about, but they wanted to create an outrage about it. Like I said, they got more upset that he said something about nice hair rather than him saying the word bitches in the song. If they had got mad about that, then I would have been like, oh, I see why you're mad. But they got mad about the hair. That's what they were more upset about. That's what their priority was on, was the hair. Yet Beyonce come out with a song where she says Becky with the good hair, and she's praised to the high heavens for it, because you know no one can talk about Queen B. It's just wild to me. Like, it really is very wild to me, because for them, that argument is the end all be all for them. Rarely will you ever hear any of them talking about racism and white supremacy, unless they can lead it back to something relating to colorism. That's the only way they'll do it. The only way they will do it. Never will you ever actually hear them talk anything about policy. Although I give them one policy they could have talked about that many of them did not touch on, and that was the Crown Act that just got passed in California. If y'all don't know what the Crown Act is, it's basically saying that jobs cannot discriminate any person based on what their hair looks like. Basically, because they've always said that black women in particular, they couldn't get hired because of their natural hair, which is why many of them started throwing a weave in, or they started perming their hair, frying their hair is another way they call it. But they passed this something called the Crown Act that they said that they can't discriminate them because of that. And I've done plenty of stories talking about how black women have been discriminated because of their hair. Hell, even black children, boys and girls, getting discriminated of because of their hair. I had one where a boy had a haircut and he had a part in his head, and they said that it looked like he was affiliated with a gang. Mind you, the boy was under 10. I've even done stories where the girl had her hair like in an afro, and the teacher had made her remove herself from class because they said her hair was distracting. So instead of moving her to the back of the class, they had her move out of the class. They actually put this girl out of school for that. But many of them in that community will not talk about that. And it's amazing because Chris Brown in the lyrics didn't mention anything about shades. He didn't mention anything about dark skin, light skin, brown skin. He just said nice hair. And he said black bees with nice hair. Last I checked, we came in various shades of black. So the fact that they brought colorism into that makes me really question them. I need to see if I can contact somebody over at the World Health Organization and see if we can put colorism in there as a form of mental illness. If they can take out gaming and replace it, if they can take out transgenderism and replace it with gaming, then throwing colorism in there shouldn't be that hard, because this is absolutely ridiculous. And we live in this cancel culture now where everybody wants to cancel everybody for this and cancel everybody for that. But like I said, black men are the only men in this establishment that are not allowed to have a preference. Imagine that a black woman can have her preference all the way down to a T, the type of black man that she wants. Or any man, excuse me, for that matter. But the minute we say we want a black woman with nice hair, they automatically assume that we're talking about a light-skinned woman with a loose curl pattern. No, that's not necessarily true. Otherwise, that's probably what we would have said. Hell, we could have been talking about a Kelly Rowland. But see, that inner idiocy in them would not allow them to actually see that. And that's very unfortunate, but it's the world we live in. It's just very weird and wild to me. But that's really all I have to say as it pertains to this topic. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one. You know what? I thought I was done, but I have some more shit to say. It's very interesting and very telling, that many, excuse me, of these colorist community individuals have so much to say about this, but they'll still bump Cardi B every chance they get. And that woman has been known to say nigga in almost every other lyric of any song that she says, or even in, in public, in person, whatever. And she called black women roaches, and y'all still go out there and support her. She even said that but then again, that kind of lets me know what I already know about how the colorist community thinks about black men, because when she came out and admitted on social media, on her Instagram live, that she drugged these men, and 9 times out of 10 those men were black, y'all really didn't have nothing to say about that. Or you did and basically said that's what we get. So what does that really say about you as a person? I even saw one comment, because I was reading an article and it was talking about Kelly Rowland, and they were basically saying, what was that comment? I need to find that comment, because that shit was very, very divisive if you want to put anything into perspective. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Like I said, no, you love him. What he said is not okay, and you don't speak for the entire female dark-skinned community. Now, doesn't that sound very divisive? Like, this person put themselves in the box as if the dark-skinned community is like the only community that matters amongst black people as a whole. They say you do not speak for the entire black female dark-skinned community. Now, what does that tell you? Now you see why I said that this colorism thing needs to be classified as a mental illness. All right, now I'm done.